Welcome to Frederick at its best. I'm Frederick County Executive Jan Gardner. Today we are here to promote Fire Prevention Month in Frederick County. Fire Prevention Month was first established to commemorate the Great Chicago Fire. This was a tragic 1871 blaze that killed more than 250 people, left over 100,000 people homeless, and destroyed more than 17,000 structures and burned more than 2,000 acres. According to popular legend, the fire broke out after a cow belonging to Mrs. Catherine O'Leary kicked over a lamp, setting the first barn and then the whole city on fire. Chances are that you've heard some version of this story. People have been blaming the Great Chicago Fire on Mrs. O'Leary and her cow for more than 130 years. But some recent research has helped to debunk this version of events. Like any good story, the case of the cow has some truth to it. The Great Fire almost certainly started near the barn, where Mrs. O'Leary kept her 5 milking cows. But there is no proof that O'Leary was in the barn when the fire broke out. Mrs. O'Leary herself swore that she had been in bed early that night and that the cows had also been tucked in for the evening. But if a cow wasn't to blame for the huge fire, then what was? Over the years, journalists and historians have offered plenty of theories. Some people have speculated that a fiery meteorite may have fallen to Earth on October 8th, starting several fires that day in Michigan and Wisconsin, as well as in Chicago. So while the Great Chicago Fire was the best-known blaze to start during this fiery 2-day stretch, it was not the biggest. That distinction goes to the Peshtigo fire in Wisconsin, which was the most devastating forest fire in American history. That fire, which also occurred in 1871, roared through northeastern Wisconsin, burning down 16 towns, killing 1,152 people, and scorching 1.2 million acres before it ended. Those who survived the Chicago and Peshtigo fires never forgot what they had been through. Both blazes produced countless tales of bravery and heroism. But the fires also changed the way that firefighters and public officials thought about fire safety. On the 40th anniversary of the Great Chicago Fire, the Fire Marshals Association of North America, today known as the International Fire Marshals Association, decided that the anniversary of the Great Chicago Fire should henceforth be observed, not with festivities, but in a way that would keep the public informed about the importance of fire prevention. So that's what we're doing here today. In 1920, President Woodrow Wilson issued the first National Fire Prevention Day proclamation. And since 1922, Fire Prevention Week, and in our case, Fire Prevention Month, has been observed at some time in early October. For us, it's not so much the exact date, but that we take advantage of this opportunity to raise awareness about fire prevention and to honor those who serve to protect us by responding to fires and other emergencies. And of course, we want to remind people of the key things they need to do, like change the battery in their smoke alarm, have a plan for their family in case of a fire, to be careful of space heaters and candles and other flammable items. This year, Fire Prevention Month campaign has a theme: Don't wait, check the date. Replace your smoke alarm every 10 years represents an effort to educate the public about the basics and to ensure that you have a smoke alarm that operates and that functions safely. Only a small percentage of people know how old their smoke alarms are or how often they need to be replaced. So one of the key messages today is to share these points. Smoke alarms should be replaced every 10 years. Make sure you know how old the smoke alarm is in your home. And to find out how old that smoke alarm is, you just have to look at the date of the manufacturer put on the back of the alarm. And remember, it should be replaced every 10 years. So look at that date, and if 10 years have passed, it's time to get a new one. Additionally, a Maryland law that was passed in 2013 requires homeowners to upgrade their smoke alarms to the latest technology when they replace their older units. When replacing your outdated smoke alarm, a new smoke alarm with a sealed 10-year battery is required. There are also other new requirements on where smoke alarms are to be placed and the number of smoke alarms you should put in your home at every level. In addition to hearing more about smoke alarms, the people who are joining me here today will share a little bit more about fire and safety equipment, people who are at risk for fires, and general fire prevention and safety pointers. So I would like to read a proclamation for Fire Prevention Month on behalf of the county. Whereas each year fire kills or injures thousands of Americans and destroys or damages billions of dollars worth of property, many of these fires might have been prevented by taking appropriate precautions and following safety guidelines. During Fire Prevention Month, we highlight the need to prevent and be prepared for fires, and we raise awareness of fire safety. We also honor our nation's brave firefighters. And whereas when fires occur, Americans depend on our courageous firefighters to be first on the scene and to save lives. Each year, more than 100 of our country's firefighters do die in the line of duty. Americans are grateful for the brave men and women who put themselves in harm's way to rescue and protect their fellow citizens. During Fire Prevention Month, we recognize these heroes and we honor their sacrifices. And whereas while many fires can be prevented by following precautions, families should still be prepared for the possibility of fires by having a working smoke alarm on every level of their home. Families should also have a fire escape plan in place to help get everyone out of the home safely in case of an emergency, and they should practice it. Now, therefore, as the County Executive of Frederick County, Maryland, I hereby proclaim the month of October 2016 as Fire Prevention Month in Frederick County and commend this observance to all of our citizens. And now, I would like to have the people who've joined me add their words. So we'll start with you, Sherry.
Thank you. Thank you. Good afternoon. My name is Sherry Soper. I serve as the Fire Prevention and Injury Prevention Chairperson for the Frederick County Volunteer Fire and Rescue Association. As Jan said, this is Fire Prevention Month. We encourage everyone to have a working smoke alarm on each level of your home, including the basement and the attic. Some people forget about those areas, but it's important to do that also. And like she was saying about the theme, smoke alarms usually only last approximately 10 years. The mechanisms will wear out. If you have one that has a 9-volt battery in it and you unscrew the back, there should be a label or a date, and that's your 10-year date that you should replace it. And yes, you do need to use the 10-year sealed-in lithium battery ones. You can take other precautions. You can have a kitchen fire extinguisher in your kitchen, and you can practice exit drills I would practice them every week, once a month at the least, and just have a safe meeting place and just be aware of your surroundings and know what you have to do in case of an emergency. And I want to thank the citizens of Frederick County for taking the precautions that they've taken to. We only have one fire death so far in Frederick County this year. It was due to a automobile accident, but please keep up the good work. Right now, Maryland has 38 fire deaths, which was compared to 52 last year, which I've heard the State Fire Marshal say he contributes to the amount of public education that the public life safety educators do. So, Jan, thank you for having us today, and I really appreciate all your support.
Thank you.
Hi, my name is Charlotte Beach. I'm currently a volunteer firefighter EMT here in Frederick County. I'm also a mother to future firefighters, a daughter to a chief here in the county, a wife to a lieutenant in the county. So for me, as being a family member here in Frederick County through the fire service, I emphasize through fire prevention, always do family drills. Moms and dads, let your children know what their addresses are, what the phone numbers are, especially when calling 911. That seems to be a theme that needs to be touched in Frederick County. So thank you, Ms. Jan, for having us. And there you go.
All right, Chief Owens.
Good afternoon. I'm Chief Tom Owens, Director of Fire Rescue Services. And first, let me thank the County Executive for taking time to highlight our fire prevention activities with October really being the month that we observe this on a national basis. But the message to our citizens is really very simple. Fire prevention is an everyday activity. You are the best first line of defense for your own safety and the safety of your family. A lot of common sense goes into the efforts that need to be made for fire prevention, certainly providing the smoke detectors as have been mentioned, but we're coming into the cold weather months, and this has become a time when fire activity tends to go up. So now's the time for our citizens to begin checking and having their heating plants serviced, making sure that they're in proper order, getting their chimneys cleaned for their fireplaces and wood stoves, all those very simple things that you can do now in order to protect your family going forward. We're coming into holiday season. That's also an opportunity for additional things to be accumulating around your house that can become ignited very easily by sources of ignition. So you need to pay attention to those things. Christmas trees, things of that nature that are brought into your home can add an element of danger, but treated properly, they can be a safe holiday celebration ornament. So with that, we again stress the fact that it really comes down to our citizens working hard to take care of themselves and applying those common sense measures to keep their family fire safe.
Thank you, Chief. I'm Chip Jewell. I serve as the Chief of the Volunteer Fire Rescue Services here in Frederick County. And first, a bit of trivia that the executive noted the Great Chicago Fire, but what she probably doesn't know is the Chicago Fire Department Training Center is located on the property of Mrs. O'Leary's barn. So kind of an interesting part of trivia. Frederick County is truly a leader in fire prevention and the fire service. We have the National Fire Academy located here in Frederick County. Last weekend, we honored our heroes that have been fallen throughout the nation, which is an annual event held at the National Fire Academy, and the memorial is located there. But another thing that Frederick County has taken the lead on is residential sprinklers. And many years ago, the Board of County Commissioners adopted a residential sprinkler ordinance here in Frederick County. We were one of the first counties, really nationally, the first commissioner form of government at the time in the state of Maryland, and one of the first commissioner form of governments nationally, to not only encourage, but actually to require the residential sprinklers in the home. Now, why do we do that? We only need to look back in history in Frederick County. Almost 40 years ago, the Burkett family, 8 people, one of the highest death loss in our state's history, occurred here in Frederick County on Walter March Road. And we have tragedies every year. Annapolis, the chief noted the Christmas trees, a very dry tree in Annapolis Mansion 2 years ago where a family and grandchildren died. Again, residential sprinklers are the new technology that are essentially the firefighter inside the house. Can they extinguish every fire? Probably not, but they give that extra level of protection and that extra opportunity to get out of the house. It's now a state mandate, and there are counties that are questioning if it's a good mandate or not. We're very supportive of it, and we're very supportive of all the activities for fire and life safety. The smoke alarms that have been added with lithium batteries in the 10 years are a plus. And we certainly encourage everyone to take the time, review your house, know an exit plan, know where to meet, and take all the basic steps that we teach in school, but sometimes the adults forget. So we thank you for this opportunity this morning, and I certainly encourage everyone to practice fire safety.
I want to thank you all for being here today, for your dedication to fire prevention. And to all of our viewers and our community members, we really do want to have you observe Fire Prevention Month by taking the appropriate steps to make sure that your house and your workplace are as safe as they can be. And so we do want to make sure your electrical appliances are connected properly, because home electrical fires account for a big portion of deaths, injuries, and property damage. Portable space heaters need to be used appropriately. And certainly check your smoke alarm. If your smoke alarm is over 10 years old, replace it. If it's less than 10 years old, you need to make sure it's functional. And make sure you and your family have a plan and that you practice it and that everybody knows what it is. I do think it's a good reminder to have children know when they call 911, they need to know where they are, and they need to be able to communicate that to the person answering the phone. So take this opportunity in the month of October to do your plan as we approach the winter months and be ready for your family. It can't be perfect, but we want to make sure that everybody in our community is safe. I also want to express my appreciation to all those involved in our fire and rescue service, both our career members and our volunteer members. We owe them a great debt of gratitude for the work that they do to keep our communities safe. So ensure your family's bright future and our community's bright future by taking action and observing Fire Prevention Month. Thank you for joining us.